All right, good morning and welcome to United Way for Southeastern Michigan's virtual town hall. My name is Audrey Walker, and today we will be joined by Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity for updates regarding unemployment. We will answer your questions during the last 10 minutes of today's town hall, so please leave your questions in the Q&A box if you're watching on Zoom or in the comment box on Facebook. And now I'd like to give a warm welcome to United Way for Southeastern Michigan's President and CEO, Dr. Darian Hudson, to say a few words.
Thank you, Audrey, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this very important day. The coronavirus pandemic continues to impact our daily lives and has led to many people throughout our region, state, and country experiencing unemployment, particularly for the first time. There have been changes to unemployment benefits in our state and federal level, so we wanted to make sure that you had the most up-to-date information. We are honored to be joined today by Todd Cook, who is our Director of Legislative Affairs with the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, known as LEO, to provide us with unemployment updates and answer your questions. Todd has extensive experience in legislative and issue advocacy. Before joining LEO as the Director of Legislative Affairs, Todd Cook previously served as the Chief of Staff for the House Democratic Caucus and the Vice President of Government Relations for the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. He also successfully managed the Promote the Vote ballot initiative and has spent time in Washington and Detroit advancing pro-worker issues for the Service Employees International Union. Todd, thank you so much for your service to our state and to our country. I think you do quite a bit of work that people may not know about. We are most grateful for your efforts and your advocacy in making sure that all of us have access to the work environments that we deserve. And so without further ado, very pleased to welcome Todd Cook.
Thank you, Dr. Hudson. I appreciate the opportunity to be with everyone today to kind of go over changes in UIA and some additional things that are happening also within LEO, but in state government in general that may be able to provide some help. I do want to just acknowledge the tremendous work that Dr. Hudson and the team at United Way of Southeast Michigan has done in terms of the ALICE population. So what is exactly what Dr. Hudson said. We've seen how the pandemic has really shown some weaknesses in our economy, and that even though that some people are working, we know that there is a significant amount of people, more than 40% of people are just one incident away from being in severe financial peril. That could be a car trouble problems, it could be an unexpected healthcare expense, all kinds of different things. So the work that the United Way has done in terms of highlighting this ALICE population is really been important, and just want to acknowledge that great work that they're doing. It's certainly something that the Whitmer administration is focused on doing. So just wanted to talk about that at the top before we got into our presentation. Just want to share my screen here for just a second, and we'll walk over things. The unemployment system is a pretty complicated system, but hopefully we'll give some information out to folks that will be helpful as they navigate and can help explain where they may be in the process and what they can do to kind of move forward or what they're entitled to under it. And then I'll finish up at the end with just a few quick updates on other items that may be of note for folks. So just kind of working through here kind of quickly. So wanted to point out, because I know that the UI system is something that a lot of people prior to the pandemic hadn't had experience with. Wanted to point out some resources for folks to go to. Many people already know these, but I just want to point them out one more time because they really can be helpful when you have questions or aren't sure how to do things. So first and foremost is the UIA website, which is michigan.gov/UIA. We've redesigned that to be more user-friendly and to give information out to folks. There's all kinds of information there in terms of how to do things and where to go and get information. One of the things that we've gotten tremendous feedback on is the how-to tutorial. So there's a link there to our YouTube channel. You can also go straight into YouTube and search for Michigan Unemployment Insurance Agency. There's a lot of great tutorials in there to help you kind of walk through where you are in the program. The other thing that we've added on to the website is our Ask Ava chatbot. So there's a chatbot located on the right-hand side towards the bottom. You can go in there. It's an AI chatbot that is constantly learning, and we're improving. We're adding more information to it every day to help people kind of walk through. And so if you have questions about information you've received, that's another great place for you to be able to go and get answers. What does this mean? What should I do next based on what information I've received from UIA? So the chatbot is another great place to do it. Also on the website is the UIA handbook that kind of outlines all the different programs we're at, where you may be in the process, what your rights are in terms of steps if you disagree with some determinations that have come out. And then the MyWAM handbook. MyWAM is the interface that we use for claimants to be able to file for unemployment and certify. Under the unemployment insurance system, folks have to each week show that they are still in need of assistance and benefits, and that they've taken the proper steps to be eligible for those. So again, just a couple of quick resource guides on that. And again, michigan.gov/UIA is a tremendous source. So again, as Dr. Hudson has said, there's a lot of things have happened in the last 11 months or so in terms of the UIA and some eligibility things. So through the governor's executive order, some state law, and some federal law, there's been some expansion in terms of who's eligible for benefits. So just those expansions include workers who've been separated from their job or seen reduction in wages in their job due to COVID, those who've been affected with COVID themselves, people who may have to self-quarantine because of exposure, people who have commitments for family members because of their COVID status, self-employed independent contractors, gig workers, folks who normally wouldn't be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits now are, and low-wage earners. These folks may have had a spotty work history, may have just been started into it, and normally wouldn't be eligible for benefits, but because of federal programs now can participate and get some help. People often ask if they're able to say ahead of time, would I qualify? Predeterminations on eligibility really can't be given. We encourage anybody who believes they may be eligible to apply and have the agency determine their eligibility. So just another quick thing. So the state insurance, unemployment insurance program, a state claim, that traditionally has been for those folks who are W-2 employees who've had a valid work separation. Those folks are entitled to, if you filed before January 1st, 2021, you're entitled to 26 weeks of unemployment benefits. If you file after January 1st, you're entitled to 20 weeks. That's something that the legislature and the governor are working to expand on. The governor's made it a priority. We're one of the few states who offers less than 26 weeks in terms of benefits. And there's been some public comments made by legislative leaders that provides encouragement to me that we'll be able to move and get this fixed. Under the state UI system, there is a maximum benefit of $362 a week. We are one of the lowest in the country. There are efforts going on to move that up, but currently the maximum benefit you can receive on state uninsurance claim is $362. However, with the passage at the end of the year of federal legislation, there is an additional $300 weekly benefit. The PUC, the Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, that'll be available for 11 weeks, starting December 27th through the 13th of March. That'll be an additional $300 that folks who are able to qualify for benefits will receive. The other federal program that's come online is the Federal Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation. This was a program set up for folks who had exhausted their state benefits, so had run out of their 26 weeks. There was additional weeks put on. Originally, it was 13 weeks. And then with the latest federal legislation, that got expanded another 11 weeks for a total of 24 weeks. A quick note on that, because of the program expiring on the 26th and then it being signed into law after that, those programs are starting back up. So people who were on PEUC plans and had not exhausted their original 13 weeks can go back on their MyWAM account, can begin to certify and start receiving payments. For people who had exhausted their 13 weeks and would be in this new 11-week extension, we encourage people to monitor their MyWAM accounts. Those programs are coming back online as we get forward. Anytime the state of Michigan has to implement a new program from the federal government, we're required to administer that in accordance to the Department of Authority, which in this case is the U.S. Department of Labor. So they provide us information on how to administer this program. We're not able to move forward until we get that all in place. And then once it's in place, we have to reprogram our system to accommodate that. And then finally, those people who may run through their weeks of PEUC benefits are also qualified at that point to be on extended benefits. This is an additional 20 weeks on top of the 2 previous programs. And it's for folks who have exhausted their PEUC. This is a program that's dependent on the state unemployment rate and economic calculations. People have asked when this will be turned off. It's hard to predict right now based on the fluctuations we're seeing in the economy. But this is something that may be turned off based on a reduction in the unemployment rate and some other economic calculations. The extended benefit program really is about those people who've had the toughest time getting back to work. It allows them to establish a claim, even though they may have been out of week for a significant amount of time. Obviously, if you qualified for the 26 weeks plus the original 24, we're coming up to almost nearly a year in benefits before you'd qualify for extended benefits. So those are kind of a quick run through in terms of if you qualify on a state unemployment insurance claim and how your benefits week, what you're maybe entitled to working through the process and how long those last for. Some things that came up through the CARES Act originally in the spring of 2020, and then the Continuing Assistance Act that was signed at the end of the year. There were some federal programs that allowed people who normally wouldn't be eligible for unemployment benefits to apply and receive benefits. The biggest benefit of that is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which is the PUA claim. This is for workers who traditionally may not be eligible for UI benefits. So people who are self-employed, 1099, gig workers, certain employees who are of a W-2 status who may have limited earnings can qualify for benefits under PUA. Just a quick note on that. What the federal government requires us to do is to make sure that everyone who files for unemployment see if they first qualify for state unemployment. If they are, we get them in the system, as I talked about previously, and then work them through the weeks that are available to them that way. For folks who aren't eligible for state unemployment, they get put in the PUA system. And that now is becoming a bigger and bigger part of the unemployment state system here in Michigan. As we go through, as we've seen changes in our economy and we see more people who are not W-2 employees in terms of their normal work status. So under PUA, people are entitled up to 50 weeks of benefits. There is a base minimum of $160 that are provided. For those folks who provide income verification, there's an opportunity to increase that, obviously maxed out at the $362 a week program. There are going to be changes in that based on the new federal legislation. So there are some time limits that are going to be sent out to folks to provide the income verification. For those who are on an existing claim and have not done so, they're going to be giving a 90-day window once notification happens to supply income verification that allows us to show a connection to the workforce, which is one of the criteria for being eligible for unemployment. For those folks who filed after January 1, they are going to have 21 days to provide verification of income once they're notified. So people should monitor not only their MyWAM account online, but their mailboxes in terms of print materials that we send to people on their claims. So for folks who had not exhausted their original 39 weeks of PEUA at the end of the year, they can now go online, complete their outstanding certifications, and start to receive benefits. People who had exhausted their PEUA, we asked them to continue to monitor their account on MyWAM. We're working on updating the system to be able to get them back on a benefit program. That probably is going to happen in about 2 weeks. Around January 30th, we'll have that up and running. And again, as I've said before, anyone who's qualified for benefits, either on a state-based claim or a new federal claim, until March 13th is eligible to receive an additional $300 a week supplement payment. That's on top of your regular benefit. And we know from previously when there was a $600 benefit for folks, how that really helped out families around Michigan. We saw that Michigan did better than most states because of the fact that we were able to get these funds out quickly in terms of we did not see some of the things we were worried about as much happen in terms of people falling behind on their rent, people falling behind on their other bills, whether it's car payments or other things. Certainly this has an effect on folks in terms of economics. So this is just a quick walkthrough, again, going from top to bottom on how people work through the system. If you first qualify for a state claim, and then after your state claim weeks expire, you're eligible for the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, which moves on to extended benefits. And then even those people may move on to a Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. If you're not a qualified state claim, you would go straight to the PEUAC. There are a couple of other programs that are coming online for mixed earners. That's in regards to folks who may have both W-2 and 1099 compensation. That program is new and we're working to bring that online, but it's a pretty select group of people that fall into that category. So one of the things I wanted to bring up, because it's affected everyone in the system, is a fraud update. There's been lots of news coverage on that, and just kind of want to walk people through some of the highlights in terms of fraud and what's that happened. So what the biggest thing is imposter claims. And so what's happened is criminals have used stolen personal information that they've obtained from other data breaches. There's been, everything from Target to Best Buy to some of the other online systems have been, penetrated by criminals, information stolen. And so what they do is they take that information and they file what's called imposter claims. So they use the real names, addresses, and social security numbers of folks to file for fraudulent claims. And that's, we'll talk more about how that's impacted the system. We've also seen identity theft in this. So many people have received at home a letter saying communication from UIA. They're surprised because they haven't filed for benefits and what to do. If you receive communications from the Unemployment Insurance Agency and you haven't filed for benefits, please, 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 as quick as you can, go to michigan.gov/UIA. And if you scroll down, there'll be a link there to report identity theft. There'll be additional information on there. The first thing is that it lets us know that somebody is falsely using your identity for benefits. There's also information there on steps you can take, because obviously you should be concerned because your personal information has been compromised. There's always a potential that that information can be used in things outside of UIA, and just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Thank you so much to Todd for that. I don't mean to interrupt you. This is so much good information here. And because of that, we do have so many questions coming in as well. So I was hoping we could maybe take a couple minutes to answer a couple of questions. And I know a lot of people were asking if your presentation was going to be available, we would be able to share it as well. So I'm hoping we can do that too, because I know there's a lot of great information you were sharing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very complicated system. There's a lot of abbreviations. There's a lot of jargon, and we'll be happy to make that available for you guys to distribute to folks. Absolutely.
So I do want to get into some of the questions here. And one of the things that was being asked here was just a few questions around the PUA timeline and when benefits should be received. Can you repeat that timeline for folks?
Sure. No, absolutely. So for folks who were on, the PUC, we've started already to start paying that out. That's the additional $300. So if you've been able to certify and move forward in your claim, those payments are going out as you certify. If you were somebody that was on the PUA system, so the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, and whose benefits had run out, we are working on turning those benefits back on. And once those benefits come back on here, you'll get the all the weeks you're eligible on. You'll get kind of backdated on that, and you'll get paid for those and get caught up. So
Does that mean that your unemployment has expired, or those benefits have run out? That's something different.
Well, so what happens is under the PUA, you're entitled to 39 weeks. That has now been boosted to 50 weeks under the latest federal legislation. But because of the fact that the program expired on the 26th and then that got restarted afterwards with the signing of the bill after it, the 11 additional weeks, we have to restart that process up for people. And so if you had expired weeks, you are eligible for additional weeks. We just, again, because of the fact that we have to reprogram the system, it's taking us a little bit of time to get that back up and running, so people will be eligible for that.
So if I have regular UIA and they only let me claim 1 week, will they pay a back date to a particular date? Like, for example, if that was at the end of October, would there be a back date that would be paid for?
So anybody, So once you start a claim, there may be all kinds of different things that may be what we call adjudicated. So if you have income, because you don't have to totally be out of work to qualify for benefits. We know that some people enter into project work, for example, or maybe back in a limited schedule. If you're reporting your earnings, you will be eligible to get all the weeks, your benefit weeks paid. Again, the additional $300 is something that doesn't start back up until December 27th, and that runs through March 13th. So if you have previous weeks, obviously when that adjudication issue is taken care of, you'll get those benefits. And then through the 13th, folks will get their regular benefit plus the additional $300 a week.
And for that $300 a week, would they have to contact UIA to open another claim, or does it roll over?
Nope, that will just roll over directly. There's nothing that claimants have to do in additional for that benefit.
And then does that include everybody, including those who are self-employed or who, freelance gig worker type positions?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. So under the new federal legislation, anyone who's eligible for at least $1 of benefits gets that additional $300.
Okay. And now if I've been waiting for months and I haven't gotten any payments, is there a number I should call?
So again, we know this is a frustrating thing for folks. This is another thing that we saw that the fraud has impacted our system. Number one, it's a attempt to steal benefits that aren't due to people. And two, it's bogged down the system for other folks in terms of steps we've had to take. So a lot of people have seen information about we need to verify your identity. That's because we've seen so much fraud in the system. That's one thing we have to do. So if people have seen that, they can go online to michigan.gov/UIA. We do have an appointment system there that people can sign up for an appointment to look for resolution. We do that up to 9 days in advance. And so we ask people just to keep coming back. If there's not an appointment available, come back the next day. We open up more every day and going forward. There's also the UI information line that people can get into. Obviously, with the disruption in service at the end of the year, we've seen a tremendous amount of calls. And so we're working through to answer those calls as quickly as we can. But those are two places people can go to help.
Would that be the same, like if I received a letter saying I owed UIA money and I was disputing that or was only on unemployment for a short time, is that still where I would contact a person?
So if you've received information from UIA that you dispute, whether it's a determination of your eligibility that you disagree, or if there's information you receive that you may be asked to pay back benefits, you are allowed to file a protest. There'll be information in your letter that you receive from UIA about how to do that protest. We encourage people to, if they think there's been an issue or think they have a case to make in terms of why there should be a different outcome, to file that protest. People have 30 days to do that once they get the letter, so we encourage people to do that right away. Missing that deadline just because you forgot or you weren't sure wouldn't be perceived as good cause. So if you disagree with determinations, with outcomes, you certainly have the right to protest and appeal that.
So it's within 30 days, and then you're saying if it's beyond that deadline, what would a person do?
If you've received a determination on eligibility or something else that you disagree with and you've missed that 30-day window, you do have the right to petition under good cause. But again, good cause is circumstances that are kind of more elaborate than I've just forgotten or I missed a deadline or things of that nature. So that's why we encourage people to, as quickly as they get those letters, to read all the way through. And at the bottom there's information on how to file a protest.
Okay. And now we got a question here saying the new rules say you have to upload proof of income, but I haven't worked. What should I do?
So, that's a great question. So that goes back to, why some of these programs have come on. You have to have some connection to the workforce at the time of your separation. So for those folks who are W-2 employees, we're able to see that because we have wages reported by your employers, and so that's a little bit smoother. For folks who are on the PUA system, so self-employed people, 1099 people, things like that, we need you to show some kind of connection to the workforce. So that may be tax forms from the previous year, that may be 1099-C forms. There's all kinds of other forms that people can show, but you have to have a connection to the workforce at the time of your separation to be eligible for unemployment.
And is that within a specific time period? Like would it be within the year or something like that?
In terms of so if you filed, for example, for benefits in 2020, you could use your 2019 tax forms. If you're filing now and you have your 2020 tax forms ready, you could use that. So they should be the most current documents in terms of your job separation that you have available to be able to do that.
Okay. And then do you have to pay taxes on unemployment? And are you able to change that option within your MyWham account?
Yeah, this is a great question that we're getting a lot now that we're at the beginning of the year. UI benefits are taxable. You do have the option when you sign up on how you want those taxes taken out. And again, if you want to update that information, you can go ahead and do that on your MyWham account. You can change your tax information. You can also change your banking information if you so choose, but they are taxable. And the state is sending out to folks 1099-G forms for your taxes currently. So those have been printed and are being mailed out, and people should be seeing them soon.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions today. We really appreciate all the information you've been able to share with us. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Hudson.
Thank you so much, Audrey. And again, Todd, thank you for this important information. I know we still have so many questions and just want to encourage everyone to continue to check back. We have a town hall page that you can go to watch this video again, to be able to see those PowerPoint slides. Obviously, you can go to the Leo website. And I also wanted to bring your attention to our 211 that is available 24/7. I know there were some questions about people who were not connected to the workforce who were still in need of help. This is a number that you can call. It's 24/7. You can also go to our website at unitedwaysem.org/211. And literally you need your zip code, and you can type in words like rental assistance, cash assistance, food pantries, daycare, and we'll be able to connect you to over 1,300 different nonprofits and social service agencies that are in our region. So just wanted to remind you that that service is available to you. Wanted to also share that this Friday, we are going to host, in partnership with the University of Michigan Poverty Solutions, a community conversation that's going to discuss the findings and opportunities from a new research report on financial well-being in Detroit. You can register today at unitedwayscm.org/FWB. Just know that we are continuing to stay close to these issues. We want to make sure that all of the work that we're doing is helping to increase the financial well-being and stability of all of our neighbors in the city of Detroit. So we encourage everyone listening today to tune into that. And as I had mentioned, you can also go to unitedwayscm.org/virtual town halls to sign up for alerts, to find out about upcoming town halls, and to view our previous ones. And so our next one is actually going to be on Wednesday, the 27th. A week from today. It's hard to believe we're already at the end of January 2021. We will be featuring the New Detroit Resource Center, Catholic Charities of Southeastern Michigan, and Adam Perry, who is the director of the Center for the Works of Mercy, will be joining us. So looking forward to seeing you all again, and I hope that you all continue to stay well. We're here to support you and stand united during this critical time. Thank you.